ASMR Politics. Musk appears at White House defending Doge's work, but acknowledging mistakes. First off, I think Doge is a good idea. I think we need to cut back on government inefficiency. I think we need to cut back on government bureaucracy. I think the super duper weighed down, ossified, calcified, stagnant, rotting husk of the government should be trimmed back a little bit. Yes, indeed, I do believe that. How's that going to happen? Unfortunately, we've got a lot of brush, and we need to clear it. And you know what? Some living trees might be cut down in the process. And we might say, oh my God, there was a beautiful bird's nest in that tree. And we cut it down and we destroyed it, and there is no recovering that bird's nest. The eggs are cracked. The birds are dead. It's unfortunate, and we hate it. We don't like to see it. We shed a tear. But we did clear that brush, and we made a fire break, and we stopped the fire before it could burn through our entire city. So, President Donald Trump's most powerful advisor, Elon Musk. Now, I do wonder if that most powerful advisor, in the sense of advisor to him, like the advisor that wields the most power in Trump's administration, or we're just saying he is the most powerful individual who has the title of advisor to the president. I think it's got to be the latter, because he's not the most powerful of Trump's advisor. He does not wield the most influence over Trump, I don't believe. Elon Musk made a rare public appearance at the White House on Tuesday to defend the swift and extensive cuts he's pushing across the federal government, while acknowledging there have been mistakes and will be more. Yeah, he knows how this works. He knows how this game works. He's gone into a lot of places, and he's cut a lot of stuff, and he goes, look, we'll overcut. We will. We're going to overfire people, and that's part of the plan. We're planning on having to hire people back when we realize that their positions, their jobs, their functions were useful and worth keeping on. But right now, we're not in that scenario. We are in that cutting phase. We've balked. Now we cut. Musk stood next to the Resolute desk with his young son as Trump praised Musk's work with his Department of Government Efficiency, saying they found shocking evidence of wasteful spending. The Republican president signed an executive order to expand Musk's influence and continue downsizing the federal workforce. Now again, I was thinking to myself, is this a good strategy? Trying to cut back the federal workforce and the bureaucracy before tackling the stuff that's actually going to make a difference in terms of the budget. The budget, if you were to cut back like all of the government bureaucracy, like you basically just, you know what, the government goes to zero, but all of the programs stay in place, you're not really going to touch anything on the budget. The budget's going to, the debt is going to remain the same. Our, spending is going to stay the same. All of these things will stay the same. And the only way to actually address the sort of fiscal imbalances is to go into the entitlement programs. So think your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security. These are the things. And I mean, you could also go into the military spending and these types of things that make up for a huge portion of the budget that people are not going to want to see cut, but probably need to be cut. At the very least, they need to be gone through, they need to be audited, and they need to be determined, where's the waste? Where's the fraud? Where's the abuse? Where are the things that are wasting money that we don't have and we shouldn't be spending on these issues? I'm not sure. I feel like if you get rid of those things, the government workers, you can then actually determine, okay, yeah, we cut all of the budget for this thing. We don't need your workers now. As opposed to doing the workers first and still having those programs. I'm not sure. Despite concerns that he's amassing unaccountable power with little transparency, Musk described himself as an open book as he took questions from reporters for the first time since joining the Trump administration as a special government employee. He joked that the scrutiny over his sprawling influence over federal agencies was like a daily proctology exam. It's a funny joke. Yeah. I mean, you can't fault these people. It's true. Trump, Elon, they're funny. They're funny. They're fun. It's part of why they won. There is a sense of fun on the right. And I'm not saying that sense of fun is going to stay there forever. It's very likely that, they're going to turn into the new, annoying, sanctimonious, woke people that I remember from my childhood of, the conservatives were the moral busybodies that were just super annoying, and you were like, I don't care. Give me the liberals. The liberals are more fun. I'll go with them. But for right now, the fun is on one side. He also claimed that DOGE's work was being shared on its website and on X, the social media platform owned by Musk. However, the Doge website has no information, and the postings on X often lack many details, including which programs are being cut and where the organization has access. Okay, this is a question I actually have. I'm not really 100% sure about this. Doge does not have any authority to actually cut these things, unless I'm mistaken. This is something I'm actually curious about. I don't think Elon Musk, or the department has any actual authority. They're making recommendations, and the recommendations are, let's say they're 100% being just immediately granted. He still doesn't have the authority to do these things. He's just making recommendations, as far as I can tell. I believe that's the case, because the department is not an actual department of the government. It's just not. It's not. It's a special government consultancy thing. The White House has also been moving to limit independent oversight. The Inspector General for the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, I'm guessing, was fired a day after warning that it had become nearly impossible to monitor $8.2 billion in humanitarian funds after DOGE began dismantling the agency. Musk defended DOGE's work as common sense and not draconian or radical. Okay, the Inspector General for the U.S. Agency, USAID, was fired a day after warning that it had become nearly impossible to monitor $8.2 billion in humanitarian funds. Okay, so the USAID thing that I'm hearing a lot about, one of the arguments against USAID, which I find brain dead and really short-sighted and naive and stupid, is that USAID is just the CIA. It's just a CIA front. This is like the Dave Smith argument. I'm like, no. I'm not saying the CIA doesn't have programs that they're funding through USAID. Yes, they do, for sure. There's no doubt about it. It's not the full budget. I think there are legitimate humanitarian things where U.S. is giving money to people in bad situations, and they're trying to make their lives better. I get it. That's true. And as a human being, I'm totally in favor of that. However, as a pragmatist, I want to be able to make sure that the money that's going to other places that we, generally speaking, did not vote to put their money there is, at the very least, being spent wisely, and we're getting something for it. And so being impossible to monitor, $8.2 billion in our coffers and maybe use it for something that we would like. The people voted for major government reform. Agreed, they did. And that's what the people are going to get. That's what democracy is all about. This is true. Look, landslide election, House, Senate, presidency. This is legitimately what they voted for. This is what they're getting. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe they're not going to like it. And my guess is, yeah, the medicine will be too bitter. And they won't like it, but hopefully the medicine will be administered enough that we can actually survive as a country and a society. That would be good. Musk acknowledged in response to a question about false statements that the U.S. was spending $50 million on condoms for Gaza, that some of the claims he's made about government programs have been wrong. Some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. Yeah, I mean, he is answering questions and people are making articles about this. This is freedom of speech. So nobody can bat 1,000. He said he promised that he would act quickly to correct errors and acknowledged that DOGE could be making errors as well. We are moving fast, so we will make mistakes, but we'll also fix the mistakes very quickly. That's kind of the best you can ask for. I think that's sort of the best you can ask for. Any action is going, certainly by large organizations or any large endeavor, mistakes will be made. The best you can do is try not to make them and fix them quickly and efficiently. That's kind of the best thing you can ask for. Trying to not make mistakes, trying to make sure that, no, we're never going to make a mistake. We're never going to do that. It's total paralysis. You can't do it. You cannot run anything with that ethos. It's not possible. It will not work. And you will still make mistakes because you're human. You are fallible. He said there are some good people in the federal bureaucracy, but they need to be accountable. Musk described the workforce as an unelected fourth branch that had more power than any elected representative. I think this is true. The federal bureaucracy is absolutely in very real on the ground senses. These are the regulators. These are the people that are actually making the regulations that are determining how businesses, industries are running, how things are happening on the ground. And these people are, in generally speaking, we don't know who they are. They should be accountable to the people and, the elected representatives. The executive order signed by Trump said a DOGE representative will need to approve almost all new hiring, a dramatic consolidation of personnel management across the federal government. Now, this is all well and good, except for the fact that, okay, it's an executive order. If you really hate this as an idea, it goes away after the next presidency because we have a new, stupid, silly process of day one, new executive orders. All the old executive orders from the old regime, bam, they're turned over by the next one. If you want the powers of the president to be limited to this, pass a law in Congress, okay? That's what needs to be happening here, is that Congress needs to actually, do its job of checking and balancing if you don't like this stuff. The agency shall not fill any vacancies for career appointments that the DOGE team lead assesses should not be filled, unless the agency head determines the positions should be filled. In addition, the Office of Management and Budget will require that agencies hire no more than one employee for every 4 employees that depart. There would be exceptions when it comes to immigration, law enforcement, and public safety. Again, that's what people voted for. That's what they wanted. And, look, this is how you cut. You have to cut to the point where They're not just building back immediately. Agency leaders were also directed to plan for large-scale reductions in force. Government functions not required by statute would be prioritized for elimination. Yeah. Trump and Musk are already pushing federal workers to resign in return for financial incentives, although their plan is currently on hold while a judge reviews its legality. The deferred resignation program, commonly described as a buyout, would allow employees to quit and still get paid until September 30th. Administration officials said more than 65,000 workers have taken the offer. Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's basically a year of pay free. You can just, get into another position and then basically double your income for the year. Yeah, that's pretty good. And, I mean, especially if you think you're gonna get fired anyway. Yeah, I mean, I think that would make sense. If you have a valuable skill set to any degree, if you can get another job, I think it makes sense to, take the buyout. Hundreds of people gathered for a rally Tuesday across the street from the U.S. Capitol in support of federal workers. Janet Connolly, a graphic designer with the Department of Energy, said she's fed up with emails from the Office of Personnel Management encouraging people to take the deferred resignation program. She tried to use her spam settings to filter out the emails, but to no avail. Connolly said she has no plans to take the offer. From the get-go, I didn't trust it, she said. Connolly said she thinks of her work as trying to do an important service for the American public. It's too easy to vilify us, she said. I don't want to dogpile on Janet Connolly. I don't want to say anything mean about her, so I will focus on the position of graphic designer with the Department of Energy. I don't know if I were going through a line item budget and I saw a graphic designer with the Department of Energy on it, I would definitely put a question mark there. Do we need a graphic designer with the Department of Energy? I mean, like, hey, some electrical engineer. I guess that makes sense, yeah. Somebody like an accountant to make sure that the money being spent in the department. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, all right. Graphic designer. Well, I mean, we need signs for like energy plants and power plants and these things. Okay, yeah. Do we need one on staff? How much are those signs changing? Are we inventing new energy stuff that we need new graphics for? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I don't think we need that person on staff. Yeah. Question mark. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe get back to me. I don't know what I'm missing here, but just right off the bat, it does seem like we probably wouldn't need that person. Now, let's call it a $50,000 a year position. It's probably more than that, but let's call it $50,000 a year. That's nothing to the federal budget. That is absolutely nothing. That is a rounding error. It's a complete negligible amount of money, and cutting it or keeping it makes no difference whatsoever. But where there's one of these people, there's 1,000. Others have said fear and uncertainty have swept through the federal workforce. They're worried about their jobs. They're worried about their families. They're also worried about their work and the communities they serve, said Helen Botcher, a former Environmental Protection Agency employee and current union leader in Seattle. Okay. The rest of America has been worried about their jobs and their families for the last 4 to 8 years. Federal employees have kind of been in a pretty secure bubble. pensions, all of these things have been super, super guaranteed, and generally speaking, that's why you work for the federal government, because it's a very secure position. And anywhere else, you would say, no, you don't have that kind of security, and you kind of know that going in. If you're not doing a great job, you're not going to be kept on. Everywhere else, that's true. The federal government is the one spot where that's usually not the case. And I can't feel too terrible about people being subjected to fair conditions. Botcher participated in a press conference hosted by Senator Patty Murray, a Democrat from Washington. Murray said workers deserve better than to be threatened, intimidated, and pushed out the door by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. She also said that we actually need these people to stay in their jobs or things are going to start breaking. For some of those people, that is true. I will say, look, Democrats have been saying for a while that the system is broken, we need to burn it down, there needs to be a revolution, we need to do all these types of things. And the first image that's coming into my head before people are asking for receipts on that is like Ilhan Omar saying, hey, look, we need to pull this thing out, root and stem, we need to burn it to the ground, we need something to rise out of the ashes. So these things are, in a lot of senses, already broken. They're just broken in a way that still functions. The product they make is broken. The work they do is broken. It's not that the departments are broken, it's that the goals are broken. And therefore getting rid of them, breaking them, is not a bad thing. I will also say that threatened, intimidated, and pushed out the door, a year of free pay, a buyout, does not really seem like intimidation techniques. A government lawyer who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity because of fears of retaliation said it was a terrifying time to be a federal worker. She said people are worried that their phones and computers are being monitored. Government property, yeah, it probably is, but that's just general. I don't think they're putting a tap on your phone for going, oh my god, we're gonna get fired. That seems a little paranoid to me. Understandable in the situation of your job is at risk. I get it. I understand, emotions are high. She's a single mother with a young daughter, and her father is urging her to take a safer job in the private sector. But she's skeptical of the deferred resignation program, emphasizing that accepting the offer means workers can't sue if they're not paid what they're promised. The idea, she said, was insane. Yeah, that is definitely something that would be the case, but to be honest, that does seem like if you're a lawyer, you'd be able to read that out and be like, okay, if you're giving me a contract to pay me this money and you don't pay me that money, I can't imagine how you can't sue for that. If they broke the contract that they gave you, yeah, I feel like as a lawyer you should know most of these, pretty much everything is legislatable, everything is up for grabs in a court of law. If you can convince them that they owed you something and they didn't give it to you, you've got it. So if you're worried about, I can't sue them, this would be a class action lawsuit with, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. I think you could probably get enough people together to make a lawsuit against these things that would get you the money that you were owed. I feel pretty confident that's in the cards, And as a government lawyer, I would imagine you're aware of that. Maybe there's some insane ironclad clause in this program, but my guess is that's not the case. Pretty much any lawyer can get around these things. Alright, with that being said, what do you think about Doge? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it a necessary evil? Is it a complete cluster jump? And will be a horrible thing going forward? And luckily we only have 4 years to deal with this. And the next president, Kamala, will be able to turn everything around on day one with all of her executive orders. Please let me know in the comments. Good luck in all your endeavors. Thank you very much for your time and attention.